What's up, guys? So today is a short video in which I will show you my homemade positioning hook. Look, if you want to see it in the canopy, look, check out most of my recent videos, because I'm still learning how to use it or how to use it comfortably at great distances, and I'm not really doing any crazy shit with it yet. Mind you, having said that, the first time I ever used it was in the summer, and we got a branch stuck in a tree, in an adjacent tree that was around 35 feet away from the tree that I was in, and I tossed that shit right into it, and it worked, and it was really cool. So yeah, without further ado, as I'm very fond of saying, here's my homemade positioning hook, and I have two of them, as you can see. This one, the distance from here to here is 75 millimeters, and from here to here on this one is either 95 or 100, I believe. So it's based off of a loose template of the DMM Captain hook. The shape is similar, but that's about it. I mean, it's similar in the sense that it's a hook. And there are a couple of like little flares here and there, like the bends here and here, that help it pass over limbs. And basically the principle is the same. If you toss the entire thing over a limb, you don't have to get the hook to catch into the limb as soon as you toss it. You just have to get it to pass over the limb somewhere, and then as you pull up your rope, you can twist the rope in your hand, and that turns the hook around. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. And talking about that, I'm going to get this angle here. I'll show you future modifications that I can do. I would have done it on the first one, but I wanted to see if it was necessary. I would like to bevel this edge over here, so it's beveled like that, and that way, if the hook is like this on a branch, or like this on a branch, because I would bevel it all the way around, but let's say it's like this. I mean, now it can't really stay like that, but you know, let's say it's like that. It's either going to tilt to one side, which is what you want. You don't ever want it to get stuck. You want it to be easy to manipulate. So there's a smaller one, and that's the first one that my dad made, and then I asked for a larger one because I thought the small one would be too small. Now the large one gets around pretty much anything. It can hook around things. Well, it can hook around the top of my thigh, like, to give you an example. Now, I'm not a big guy. I'm still 6 feet tall though, and you know, like, I have reasonably strong legs, but I'm not massive, but this can go around my leg. So the cool thing about having one this size is that, you know, even though it's not rated or anything like that, they're both really strong. But this one, like, you know, you can tie it around something, you can hook it around something big, and you can kind of use it as life support. So, you know, I would not climb exclusively off any of them, but you know that hanging over your head, like if you are hanging it over your head, which, you know, theoretically you're not supposed to do, but that's just a giant disclaimer. Again, you're tied into your main line, and then you want to toss your hook above eye level. What do I give a fuck? I do it too, and it works, and yeah, it's strong enough to support your body weight. More than that, it's strong enough to support several thousand pounds. I should do a break strength test, but I don't want to break it, so all I know is that it's strong enough to support me several times over, and it's not going to snap under anything from what I do to it anyway. So the nice thing about the big one versus the small one is that if you do have the small one overhead, or even if it's not overhead, you know, the small one, like, the limbs that it fits around aren't huge. So, you know, if you're in a dead tree, or if the tree's just not super strong, then just because you can get this guy around the limb doesn't necessarily mean it'll be a great limb to hold you. And we're not talking about life support, we're talking about just positioning. Now, I've never had anything happen, I never had a limb break, but it's just something to consider, you know. Having said that, the big one, to have on you all the time, I find the big one a little bit too big, because, again, I use the big one for the gnarly shit that I'm kind of not supposed to use a hook for. But when, you know, when you use the big one on a smaller limb, the big one's too big and it jostles around. So this one, if I know I have to do a traverse, or if I know I'm going to be like hooking, if I know I'm going to be hooking through the trees a lot, or I'm going to be trying to, or I'm going to try to do like gnarly shit, then I'll bust out Big Daddy. But just to have on me at all times, I have a little guy. And I'm getting into the habit of having him on me at all times. He fits into my little micro rigging bag, and he also clips into my harness, like anywhere, you know. I just clip him onto a carabiner, and I just put it on I put it on one of my side accessory loops on my harness. Or again, it even fits inside the rigging bag, but I don't like putting it in there because when you pull it out, all the other stuff comes out. So one thing that I could do, I could drill a hole here, or I could make it pointier. I could make it pointier on top and then drill a little hole. Or I could drill a hole in the middle. That way I could hang it downwards so that it wouldn't get caught in branches on the way up. But honestly, when I hang it off my harness, I hang it like this. And what I usually do is I put a carabiner through here, and then I just attach it onto my carry tool. And it just hangs like that. And I never had it caught on anything really. Not enough to be a deterrent anyway. So, you know, if and when that day comes, I'm going to drill holes in it. And I'm probably going to make some new ones anyway to try it with a template. I'm going to try some different stuff. I'm going to try some beveled ones. I'm going to try ones with holes. I'm going to try ones with slightly different sizes. I want to make like a huge one. And I also want to make a smaller one. And anyway, so another thing too, this is how I use it. I use it with a single line, with a distal hitch, float hitch, or flot hitch, I don't know how to pronounce it, pulley, which is comparable to the hitch climber pulley, but the hitch climber has 3 chambers here. This one has 2, but the second one here is kidney shaped, so you can attach 2 carabiners in here if you want. So what I do, this is also incidentally why I do not use a wire core flip line. I used to, and it's not bad to have, but I cut into it one too many times and it's on the shelf right now. It's about to be dismantled for parts, and I use, okay, it's good to have. I might get another one in the summer for exclusively flip lining and spiking on trees, but the reason why I don't really like it is that they only come in certain lengths. And it's like 5 feet, like 6 feet, 10 feet. Maybe you can get a slightly longer one. But it's stiff, which is good for flipping it. But it's annoying because it gets in the way a lot. And yeah, you can use it as a secondary life support line or safety line. But it's stiff. It's not great. And it's too short. And if you have one that's too long, like if you have a 10-foot long one, and you're only going around like smaller trees, it's always hanging there, and it gets annoying. And you spike into it a lot, and it gets in the way. And if you already have if you have your main safety line and your secondary safety line, which is this thing for me, it's around 25 feet. And I have another one just like it, but you know, again, the flip line gets in the way, because already I have to store this on me. And this is great because I can use this as a safety line. I can toss it up to 15 feet or so above my head and use that to get extra distance if I want to go past my tie-in point, or I can use it as a flip line, and I can use it as a giant flip line if I'm far out in the canopy, far away from the main stem, or if I'm climbing a giant tree, a super wide tree. And again, the wire core flip line, they're usually too short. Yeah, like I could have a longer one made probably, but what's the point? It's just a pain in the ass. I like this better. Yeah, like, okay, don't cut into your rope while you're hanging from it. That's about it. Same thing with a wire core, but, you know, anyway, I digress. So what I like about this, which is a happy accident, and it's going to be, see, what I like, and this is another reason why I don't have the wire core, is because this one can be converted very quickly from a flip line into a safety line. And imagine my D-rings of my harness are here. I just walk up into it, click, click, and then it's a flip line. Or what I can do, I can clip this guy into here, and then it's a safety line. And I can attach this one to my bridge on my harness. And now check this out. This is how I usually use the hook now. Just give me a second. So I have the hook on the end of my line like that, and then I toss it into another tree, and then I'll bring myself over with my distal hitch and my pulley. So I'm going to do that right now. And the beauty is, when you get into position and you get into your other tree, you can unhook your hook, pass it around the limb, and this hook passes directly through the kidney-shaped hole in the pulley. So this was a happy accident. It was just made like this, again, by accident. But they both do it, the small one and the big one. And I think that regardless of the types of hooks that I make, regardless of the shape that they take, I'm going to make them all able to fit in here. And let's say this wouldn't fit in here. What I would do, I would leave the hook on most of the time and just clip the carabiner into there. But this is nice and easy. See how easily that goes in? And like they both go. Like it's again, like I said, it's a happy accident. So it goes in very nicely. I usually put it in towards me. And yeah, I've hung off this a bunch of times. And this you can use as a safety line. Look, why the fuck not, man? Yeah, life support, sure. The main reason I don't like hanging from the hook is because if I rock, you know, it can come undone and then I'm gonna eat shit. But this way, yeah, man, like, you're not going anywhere. So that's my homemade positioning hook. I apologize for the terrible filming, but I really wanted to show you guys, and I will be selling them. You can make your own. It's kind of a pain in the ass to make, but I'm happy to make them, and it takes some time, so I have to charge money. But yeah, if you want one, then, and you don't have the means to make one, because I just used a grinder, or my dad used a grinder. We have a cutting torch, but it's out of gas, so we need to get that filled. And we used, let's see, about half inch thick, I believe. It's pretty thick metal. So that's about what we used. And we went around with the grinder, and it takes a long time, and it's a pain, and it's hard to do the inside. And ideally we would make them with a cutting torch, because that'd be a lot easier, it'd be a lot less time consuming. But again, like, all this stuff, like, it's time, it's money. So I'm telling you guys this just as a matter of fact, and if you want to make your own, it's not that hard, but it's kind of a pain, but it's really worthwhile because it's a really cool thing to use, and it's a fun working technique and working method to get into. It changes the way I work. Yeah, granted, like I said in my last video, or a couple of videos ago, first job of 2020, that, you know, getting used to new equipment, even if the goal is to work faster, like, while you're getting used to it, you're gonna work slower a little bit, but man, it's fucking fun. So I really like working with these things, and go out there and make your own. And if you can't, or if you don't feel like it and you still want one, or two, or three, or four, I'm happy to make them for you. So hit me up in the comments and let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys use a positioning hook or a grappling hook or anything like that. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Alright, be safe, take care, have a good weekend.